In May, Arsenal won the Football League Championship after a remarkable season in which they lost only one game. Today they start the defence of their title in a London derby with Queen's Park Rangers. Ron Atkinson took Sheffield Wednesday to the First Division and victory in the Rumbelows Cup final, and then left to take charge at Aston Villa. He was guaranteed a hostile reception on his return to Hillsborough. "29 goals on opening day of the season, but none of them better than this from Brian Robson. Hello, Tony Francis welcoming you to Highbury in North London, the home of the Football League champions Arsenal, for the opening weekend of the English First Division. Today the Gunners kick off the new season in an expanded division of 22 teams. And as always, we'll have highlights and news from all the games later in the show. Arsenal's first opponents are their West London rivals Queen's Park Rangers, and defending the title will be more strenuous than winning it, with 42 games between now and May. The champions, though, have stuck with their winning formula, at least for the start of the season, unlike their visitors, for whom Gerry Francis, an old boy and former England captain, takes over as manager. Rangers have never won the league title, but in 1976, when Francis dazzled in midfield, they celebrated as if they had. On the last weekend of the season, they beat Leeds 2-0 to put them 1 point clear at the top of the table with all their games completed, thanks to goals from David Thomas and that enigma of Loftus Road, Stan Bowles.
Francis got it away, and Rangers on the break again with the slip-off, and look at the space here now for Bowles. Cutting in quick. Francis is right in there, still with Bowles. He's across the goal! Yes! Stan Bowles, number 2.
The celebrations were premature, though. Liverpool still had a game to play, and a few days later beat Wolves 3-1 to snatch the trophy from Rangers' grasp. Today, Francis hopes to mark his debut as manager with an upset. Now for a look at the two teams, here's Martin Tyler.
Central defender Steve Bold misses a league game for the first time in 20 months. He's got an ankle problem, but such is the depth of Arsenal's squad, a player of the calibre of David O'Leary, a capable replacement. Swedish international Anders Limpar has recovered from a bruised thigh, and he's preferred to David Rocastle, whose pre-season form has been excellent, and he's been told by the manager he's very unlucky to be only a substitute today. A feature of Arsenal's superb season, the goalkeeping of David Seaman, who of course came here from Queen's Park Rangers. His successor in the Rangers goal, Czechoslovakia's Jan Stejskal. In front of him today, a reshaped defence now that England international Paul Parker has been sold to Manchester United. Ray Wilkins captains the team, though he's only 75% fit with a sore Achilles tendon. There are two new signings. At number 7, Dennis Bailey from Birmingham City, who'll play on the right side of midfield, and Ian Holloway from Bristol Rovers. He's a substitute today. Well, Gerry Francis says that his ambition is to build a mini Arsenal at Queen's Park Rangers. He'll know more about how much work is involved in that after this testing start to his managerial career with Rangers. Dennis Bailey cost Francis £175,000. This is his First Division debut today. Ron Groves from Weston-super-Mare is the referee. Queen's Park Rangers to kick off. They finished 12.
This week, Liverpool cleared the decks, selling David Speedie to Second Division Blackburn for £500,000 and Gary Gillespie to Glasgow Celtic for almost £1 million to make way for their new signings. Gillespie joins Tony Cascarino at Celtic. Aston Villa collected £1.1 million for the Irish international striker. Also in Scotland is the former Everton midfield player Stuart McCall. He joins Glasgow Rangers for £1.2 million. Lars Elstrup returns to his old club Odense of Denmark after helping Luton Town stay in the First Division last season. And Don Howe has resigned as coach at Wimbledon after 26 days, following speculation about the future of the manager Ray Harford. But the biggest departures in the close season were, of course, David Platt, who leaves Aston Villa £5.5 million better off by joining Bari, and Paul Gascoigne, whose own transfer to Italy is delayed for a year as Lazio await his return to fitness. So Gazza may still pull on a Spurs shirt this season. £50 million changed hands on transfer deals during the summer, and Chelsea's contribution was their expensive imports from Scotland, Paul Elliott and Tommy Boyd, brought in to bolster the defence at a total cost of £2.2 million. Wimbledon's only outlay was £775,000 to Port Vale for the midfield talents of Robbie Earle. The Dons, playing in their black and white away kit, took the lead after 24 minutes through John Fashanu, showing the kind of finishing that brought him 20 goals last season. Fashanu's close season job as a television presenter hasn't diminished his appetite for goal. From then on, it was over to the new boys. 10 minutes before half-time, Elliott pulled Chelsea level with a looping header over a rather flat-footed Hans Segers. Elliott scored 5 times for Celtic last season, but it was his defensive qualities which really caught the eye. Now that he's playing in the capital, he'll certainly come into consideration for an England cap, and his power in the air is a valuable asset at set pieces. Into the second half, and it's the turn of Wimbledon's debutant to make his mark. Robbie Earle ghosting in at the far post for his new club. Earle scored 11 times from midfield for Port Vale last season. But 4 minutes before time, Chelsea grabbed a share of the points thanks to another new face. Their substitute, Joe Allen, was an unheralded acquisition from Hartlepool, but he made a big impression on the Stamford Bridge fans. Was it by fair means or foul, though? A look from behind the goal suggests that Allen's forearm may have got the final touch. West Ham were hoping for a flying start on their return to the First Division, but Luton Town, with their former manager David Pleat back in charge, were a hard nut to crack. In the first half, Alec Chamberlain kept the scores level with a series of outstanding saves. That one from Martin Allen. A few strong words from Billy Bonds in the dressing room at half-time should be enough to motivate anyone, but when the teams came out for the second half, it was the Hatters, not the Hammers, who came closest. 22-year-old Sean Farrell picks the ball up deep, and his long shot catches Ludek Miklosko off guard, but the youngster's effort crashing against the crossbar. The Hammers did have some bright moments, with their new signing Mike Small almost breaking the deadlock with this clever header. Small's goals very nearly earned Brighton a place in the First Division last season. In the end, it was an undistinguished and unsatisfactory performance from the East Londoners, and in the final minutes, the normally reliable George Parris summed up their afternoon, miscuing from short range. No goals at Upton Park. Southampton and Tottenham begin the season under new management, Ian Branfoot and Peter Shreeves respectively. Alan Shearer got the Saints' new regime off to a cracking start with the quickest goal of the day after 2 minutes. It took Spurs the rest of the first half to recover, but 5 minutes before half-time, Paul Stewart set up Gary Lineker from close range, and the England captain opened his account. In the second half, Spurs grabbed the initiative, and Lineker's new striking partner, Gordon Jury, became another first-time scorer. He scrambled home Stewart's cross, with Lineker avoiding the offside by staying off the field of play. 70 minutes gone, and the travelling Spurs supporters learning to live without Paul Gascoigne. 2 minutes later, Tottenham made sure of the points. Stewart stealing the ball from Matthew Letitia and feeding Lineker, whose speed and coolness took him past his defender and Tim Flowers to score his second. Lineker at 30 is as sharp as ever.